I am currently not employed with my former school. That is a question that has to be directed to my executive director and any other party that made the decision. But I can tell you when the conversation was had, she said, she referenced my race and my sex. She said that she had already mentioned that I was an angry Black man. So she didn't mention anything in particular to my record, but she referenced my race and my sex, which we know in the state of South Carolina and the United States of America, due to civil rights legislation in the 1960s, that is something that's not just illegal, but I find it quite frankly disgusting.
It's the Logan Power Show. Inspirational and motivational. It's the Logan Power Show. Informational to help you grow. Logan Power Show.
And now the host, Calvin Logan.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Logan Power Show. It's me, your host, Calvin Logan. I thank you for watching another dynamic episode here, the Logan Power Show. I know that when we talk about there's a shortage of teachers, we talk about all the time that there is a need for educators, and we said there's a need for people of color. We said like where they at, there's a shortage of them. Where are they going? Well, I got with me uh, a man who is an educator. He ran for political office, um, ran for House of Representatives here in South Carolina, did win, an educator. But lo and behold, I guess after his very strong candidacy for House of Representative, lo and behold, he's lost his job from being a career winning teacher. Well, I'm gonna let him talk about it more. You know him as the man who does not hold back from the truth. Our very own Mr. Gregg Dixon. How you doing, Mr. Dixon?
I'm doing good, Calvin. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, sir. Just want to read it. Court case number 922CB04198. Gregg Marcel Dixon versus Royal Live Oaks Academy of Arts and Science Charter School, the U.S. District Court for the District of South Carolina. Um, for you, you lost your job and you are fighting to get back what was been taken from you. Um, the question that a lot of people are sort of baffled by is like, we say we have a shortage of teachers. Why did you fall into the gap of being in the unemployment line? Is the question I have that I'm still worrying, still questioning today.
Well, I want to be clear. It's Royal Live Books Academy, just
Well,
to make so people when they look up, they'll get the right school.
yeah.
And I want to say I am absolutely um, not looking to return the that experience. I can tell you, I'm going back to school for cybersecurity. I am not in the least bit interested in returning to academia. Unfortunately, I had an award-winning career even before I was a certified teacher. I was teaching, but I was going to school to get my degree. I was awarded for my teaching. And every year in my teacher career since being at Royal Live Oaks Academy, I was awarded bonuses for my student performances. I have my portfolio with my student test scores showing that they were among the highest and many times the highest. I have my accolades from my time as an academic coach, showing that teachers under my tutelage, their test scores soared. I have letters of commendation from the Department of Education on the state level for South Carolina, commending me for my performance as a test coordinator. I have my students bringing back awards when we went to Model United Nations. We were new to that competition. We went against schools that were far more affluent, largely white and Asian, that had multiple coaches. Here I was, the only coach for my school, first year, and we would come in second place, not once, but twice, beating 20 something other schools, never quite getting to that first place. But no, I'm absolutely not looking to return to teaching. As far as why I am currently not employed with my former school, that is a question that has to be directed to my executive director and any other party that made the decision. But I can tell you when the conversation was had, she said, she referenced my race and my sex. She said that she had already mentioned that I was an angry black man. So she didn't mention anything in particular to my record, but she referenced my race and my sex, which we know in the state of South Carolina and the United States of America, due to civil rights legislation in the 1960s, that is something that's not just illegal, but I find it quite frankly disgusting.
And definitely, that's definitely alarming. Um, Saying that you're angry, but then putting the race involved with makes even more of a catch 22. Um, but another part that I'm really confused is that I thought winning teachers you retain and teachers who are failing you let go. Is the clarity that I'm just confused. Is maybe I'm just lost. I thought the whole thing is when you win, when the accolades are high and that you have results that are winning, you want to keep that person. You want to, hey, come back 1,001 times because you want to have a winning school. So did was the conversation, did she ever mention why she came with this derogatory characterization of you? Did she ever mention that? Because that's the part I'm really confused as well. You know, it,
She mentioned parent complaints, and you know as well as I know, if you are a teacher and if you are a very quote unquote strict teacher, but teacher with high expectations, of course you're going to have kids and sometimes parents who are going to complain. The thing is, you will not find any teacher, even the ones that are very more relaxed, that have not had parent complaints. However, when I told her to cite some of those parental complaints, she could not do it. I mentioned 6 students out of the 100 students, because I taught fourth and fifth grade, that had complained. Now, keep in mind, I have 20 to 30 letters of gratitude, of commendation from the students I taught last year. But when I went through those 6 students, 5 of them then were the complaints were not even about me. And that is something to which they attested. And if they want to challenge me, I have copious amounts of digital recordings where they admit that a lot of those students were using me as a scapegoat. For example, there was one little girl who used to run away, and her mother said that the little girl mentioned she was afraid of me. But the guidance counselor and other people who know the family said that last year the same thing was happening. They weren't coming to school, and I did not know the little girl. She did not know me. So one staff member even mentioned they're just trying to find excuses. What's the excuse for the other siblings not coming to school? So it was not me. And the little girl always came to my class, and I have on recording one of the administrators saying that's the most they've ever seen her work during her entire school tenure. She never ran for my class. She would come to my class and she would participate. Another student, the mother was upset that not just me, but my colleagues and I were keeping her in the classroom during recess to make her finish her work. And my administrator said, you know what? If the mother is more concerned about having recess, then you know what? Let her sit there and let her fail. But that was not a complaint exclusive to me. That was something my 3 other colleagues, whom I absolutely adore, and I decided to do together. One little boy who, because I have a loud voice, I'm a male teacher, and I'm relatively young. Most teachers are white women. I am a young, depending on who you ask, young black male. I have a loud voice. I don't take nonsense from my students at all, and I will never make apologies for that. He was afraid of me initially, but after meeting with his parents and coming to understand his personality, because sometimes it's just different personalities. Sometimes I'm the first male teacher a student has ever had. Sometimes I'm the first black teacher a student has ever had. Sometimes I'm the loudest, most theatrical, but you see, I just a lot that a student has ever had. The boy loved my class. So when they withdrew him, I wrote the mother and the father. I said, well, I'm sorry if it was anything to do with me. And they said, no, he actually loved your class. What happened was there was a fight. His sister was in high school and a fight broke out. His parents felt the school was not safe. They did not say that about my classroom. They said he
Mhm.
loved my class. There were two other students. One, the mother says she never lodged a complaint. She don't know where they got that. And one student that actually did have an issue with me, I said, you can't win them all. So I said to her, what are these other parent complaints that you claim you have been hearing? Because the kids in third grade, who would have been my fourth graders, their parents reported to me that their kids were excited about having me as their teacher. And she could not cite near one. What I can do, however, I cited my test scores from the 10 years I've been there, having the highest test scores the majority of the time. I cited the awards that she has awarded me, the state has awarded me from competitions that my students have earned. I have cited the large amount of letters I've gotten from parents, but most importantly, she was trying to make it seem like students were afraid of me. I cited student surveys. Now, how many teachers will ask students, especially middle school kids, to do an anonymous survey about you? I surveyed all of my students. I've been doing that since 2017. And I ask them how they feel about me. Do they feel respected? Do they feel loved? Do they feel they've improved? And I do it anonymously. Most students don't even do it in my presence. They do it away from me. And every single year, 75 to 95% of my students report that they feel loved by Mr. Dixon. They feel that I value them. They feel they've improved. On the other hand, I've mentioned the surveys she's done for the schools where the data is complete opposite, and the majority of students report not feeling safe, not feeling valued, not feeling respected. So I said to her, if anyone has data that shows there's an improvement that needs to be made in regards to relationship with students, it is the school in which she is the director, not me.
Wow. Well, for those who want to get some more clarity of where Mr. Dixon is coming from, as a teacher, um, you're evaluated on test scores, you're evaluated on kids' grades, you're evaluated on failures, you're evaluated on classroom management, you're evaluated on how you handle circumstances, situations, and when you think about, just for people to understand, the United States today has a teacher shortage pandemic. I want to repeat that again. This is not something I'm making up. This is factual data that you can literally have on the Department of Education can say they are literally um, a shortage of teachers. Um, a teacher getting let go from any education, it always has to be something severe, like sexual, some kind of sexual misconduct. Um, you decided to fight a student, but nothing of this weird situation that Mr. Dixon is mentioning. So that's why we brought him in the Logan Power Show because we felt that um, it's kind of ironic that his situation just went left after he ran for House of Representatives and he made a lot of noise from a big nationwide scale. Like his presence went outside of South Carolina, and I believe that some of the rhetoric and the tone and the educational mindset that he came with may have rubbed some feathers the wrong way with the higher powers that be is what I believe. That's just me. Maybe I'm wrong. If the school would like to come on the Logan Power Show and to clarify that, let me know because I love to have the Royal Live Oaks Academy of Arts and Science Charter School director. Love to come to Logan Power Show to say her point because I just believe that this case may go to a way that it may not only will give a black eye to the school, but it could give a black eye when it comes to monetary change. But Mr. Dixon, biggest thing that's really disheartening is that you are I don't care what you say, you're an educator and you're good at it. Um, you leaving the field is even more disheartening. It's one of the things that the teachers you see on sc.edu, like one of the Facebook groups I follow, teachers do um, talk about they had enough. They get frustrated. It's something that they are are at the highest level of frustration. You see people talk about, man, I've had enough, and I quit. I let it go. Um, outside of this, are any of your counterparts or colleagues who you do know, are they feeling the same way, like saying, hey, I'm ready to let this thing go because this is getting kind of serious, when coming from parent perspective, in your opinion, sir?
Teachers are tired. First of all, like you said, we have a severe teacher shortage. Once upon a time, they used to be able to fill that void by hiring international teachers. Now we're to the point where they can't even get teachers from other countries to want to come and teach in America. And when I say teachers are tired, there was an article done about how Black teachers in particular report far higher um, uh, report a desire to leave the teaching field. Over half of Black teachers said they plan to leave the field very soon and not come back. Compared to teachers that were non-Black, it was 23%. But let me tell you, that survey definitely did not speak to the right teachers because I was a teacher's coach, okay? I work with teachers all the time. White women, white men, black men, Asian women, teachers of all backgrounds are tired, they're burnt out, and it's not because of the students. That's something we don't talk about enough. It is usually because of the administrators. Even though some parents are very difficult, it's not always because of the parent. Because when you have a good administrator, the same way I, as a teacher, I've been on teams and I've been in schools where things are chaotic and wild, but students knew when they came to my classroom, none of that stuff is going to fly. I will tell them that bird don't got no wings, that bird don't got no feathers. And they knew that wasn't going to go down in Mr. Dixon's classroom. I didn't believe in kids sitting like this all day. I believe that kids should be able to move around, should be able to discuss, but there's a time and place for everything. And I told the students, whatever you do, you're going to do it with control. I said, I'm going to give you control, but if you lose control, you're giving it to me. And they definitely don't want me to have it. So that's how I entrusted them responsibility. The same way an administrator has the authority or has the ability to say, I know that a lot of kids come with a lot of different needs and problems, but you are not going to have that go on in my school. But teachers are tired and students are tired too. Contrary to popular belief, even students that act like they don't, most students want discipline. Most students want a controlled environment where they feel safe. You got students that are being bullied left and right. You got students that are bored to death in schools because, and I'm not trying to pick on teachers, but because it's a challenge trying to engage kids today. We live in a world of Instagram and TikTok, video games where kids have very short attention spans. It is a challenge. So kids are bored. Some kids are being bullied. Some kids don't feel, they don't see how school is relevant to their lives. So teachers have a huge challenge to face. But I am glad that my data, and I'm in an area where the kids come to me at least two or more grade levels behind. I am glad to say that in all my years of teaching, by the time I would get kids with probably 30% were reading on grade level, and at the highest, by the time they left me, I flipped that. It will be 70% or more reading on grade level and 30% not on grade level, which of course is a concern to me. But among that 30%, there was big improvement. And my social studies, same thing. I would get them 40% on grade level. By the time they left me, I would have as high as 85% on or above grade level. In writing, 69% on or above grade level. And I'm in Jasper County, which is unfortunately the county that is the lowest performing county in the state of South Carolina. I worked hard and I put my soul, my heart, my mind, and my body into my teaching because I love my students, but it's not just because of love, it's because of justice. Because I am a product of Jasper County School District. And I remember having teachers, and I'm not trying to slander them or criticize them harshly, but I remember having teachers who showed up one month, next month they're going. They found the job in Beaufort County or they found the job in Charleston County. It's like they were only coming to Jasper County just so they can get some experience and go somewhere else. They were not coming there for us. I refuse to just be a seat warmer in my position. So I looked at it as a matter of justice. I felt that every kid, especially my black kids, but all kids deserve to have a teacher who was going to not just push him or herself to do well, but push them to do well. And that was what I did to my students. And at first, they don't like it. They felt that I was too strict, felt that I was too harsh, felt that I was being too tough on them. But eventually, I no longer had to push them. You know why? Because they started pushing themselves. And when I told my director, Karen Wicks, when she told me she would not be inviting me back, I told her I have a folder filled with letters, with high test scores, with awards, with good relationships, and wonderful experiences with parents and children and fellow colleagues that she can never take from me. I may not have been planning for my career to end as soon as it did, but you know what? I ended on a high note. And for that, I am proud. I am
Absolutely.
so proud because that cannot be taken from me.
Yes, sir. I've always learned this much that people tell you that they can take things from you, but they can't take your education. And one thing that people can't take from you too is the memories, the relationships that you built. And I think that's a lot of times that people don't understand is the relationships that we build cannot be broken. Um, if I build a relationship and I built multiple ones, then the thing about it is I could be all across the continent, but the relationship that I may build, that person may still reach out and tell like how important you may have changed their lives. So we know that your tenure as a teacher, um, you never stop teaching, but it may have ended this particular realm, and we know that you're going to do great moving forward. Any realm that you have, I know your political career is going to happen sometime soon. 'Cause I believe that people like you are needed in the political arena. I believe you're needed in the educational arena, and we need some change. Um, for those who don't know what he's meaning about the shortage of teachers in a rural in Jasper County, a lot of that educational money is relied upon federal funding. This how the sales tax covers um, education in most places, and sometimes the federal government gives places more money to certain counties than others because it doesn't have enough sales tax to cover the cost. Now when that happens and the federal government gives more money, is not enough sales tax or local sales tax, that means yeah, you may have more money from the government given to that particular county. It does not mean that they're going to get the best of the best. And more rural areas, more counties, like Mr. Dixon had just mentioned, that are struggling to keep teachers is because the benefits, the salary is not enough. And like most people say, like I don't want to live in a certain place, and I gotta travel so far just to come and and teach. Remember, kid, I look at teachers as a calling. Many are called, few is chosen. The Bible says so. Shout out to all my teachers. You are needed in the field. Um, Final thought, Mr. Dixon. This is something that I want to get your opinion on. It's kind of a question that I would love you to answer. The current president of the United States, President Joe Biden, his wife, maybe me, you know this, is an educator. She's a former educator. Just from me, you talking, in your opinion, wouldn't that be one of his main pivotal pieces on the forefront? Just saying. I mean, you have since he has been in office, and since even when President Donald Trump was in office, teachers was even struggling more. The pandemic hurt us. But I thought maybe I'm confused, ladies and gentlemen. I thought when the new president came into play, one of the first things that he would have had on his agenda table was making sure that education got its fair shake. In your personal opinion, because you've been teaching for 10 years, you've been under two
20.
presidents, 20 years, excuse me,
I've been teaching for 17 years.
17 years. So you've been under technically four different presidents at this moment in your juncture. Do you believe teachers are getting their fair shake under the current administration, in your personal opinion?
No, no. And, I cannot stand this president we have now. I cannot stand him, but I won't put that at his feet either. That's been an ongoing issue. We need to raise the minimum salary of teachers. You got teachers who are getting paid 30, $40,000. That wasn't enough, 2 decades ago. It's definitely not enough now. And then also, there is a lot being said about bullying, which is good. Sometimes the teacher is the bully, but sometimes teachers are being bullied. Sometimes teachers are bullied by the students. They're bullied by parents. I know, I know. You can tell you. It is insane how many teachers are falsely accused by students, by parents, but also the main people that tend to bully teachers are the administrators. And that is why I felt it was important for me to file this lawsuit against my former employer, and specifically my former director, Karen Wicks, because and this is one of the reasons why I'm running for office too, because I feel like it's either going to be justice for all or it's justice for none. It is an injustice when teachers are bullied and they don't have any recourse. When administrators can just say, I'm coming to evaluate you, and the teacher's doing a good job. This never happened to me, luckily. What happened once, but not at Royal Levels Academy, at another school, and they just give you bad marks because they don't like you. It's not because you're not doing their job, but they don't like you and they're abusing their power. It's an injustice when you have some teachers who are trying their best, but some who just really don't care. And some maybe start off caring, but they have the care beat out of them because that can happen. But you have students whose only opportunity to expand their horizons is going to come from the school, and they're not even trying. It is an injustice when you have some parents who are going to the school and making their concerns known about their child not feeling safe or their child being bullied, and nothing is done. But the moment that child probably defends themselves or doesn't want to go to class, that child has the book thrown at them. I can go on and on and on. It's an injustice also. This happened in my former school, to prioritize one group of students over the other. No demographic should take precedence over the other. Like at my school, one of them made the statement that we should prioritize the Hispanic students because there's such a large percentage of the school's population. I jumped up, and this is probably why they call me the angry black man. I raised my hand and said, wait a minute, what about the other kids? What about the white American kids? But specifically, what about the Black American kids who have been in this county for the longest, have been in poverty here for the longest, and were the original population that allowed you to be able to start a charter school? So, because I was never shy about speaking up when it was right, even when it was not popular, that is why I can imagine she labeled me the angry black man. And like I've been telling people, in South Carolina, you can get rid of people for almost any reason. You can get rid of me for being angry. That's well within your right. But you cannot get rid of me for saying my race, black, or my sex, man. And that is an injustice.
Ladies and gentlemen, you've heard the injustice given by Mr. Gregg Marcel Dixon. He is in a battle, and he's in a lawsuit going again. Let me give you the case number. Case number 9.22 CV 04198, U.S. District Court for the District of South Carolina. Gregg Marcel Dixon versus Royal Live Oaks Academy of Arts and Science Charter School. I promise you, ladies and gentlemen, this case is may speak even more, given higher. We pray that Mr. Dixon has got his justice. We pray that that this land heals. And we pray that, listen, all my educators out here, I pray God's heaven best to you. We need you in the fight. We need everyone working together, from the administrators to the teachers to the social worker. I'm talking about the student support specialist. I'm talking about the janitor, all the way down to the coach, the athletic director. You are all needed. This is a 911. If you want to be an educator, get on board, get the bootstrapped. We are in a crisis. Parents, we need you. We need you to your support. We need you in the classroom. We need you being the help for the teacher. I promise you this: if a parent supported classroom is there 24/7, that classroom will never fail. Because if it's a family environment, that's what we need. The people says no child left behind. I believe it takes a village to raise a child. It's gonna take a village to raise a teacher's success. It's gonna take a village to make a school great. So, ladies and gentlemen, keep Mr. Dixon in your prayers. Keep this nation in your prayers. That's all the time I got. My name is Calvin of the Logan Power Show, nationwide, worldwide. We love you. We'll see you soon.
It's the Logan Power Show. Inspirational and motivational. It's the Logan Power Show. Informational to help you grow. Logan Power Show.